I just pulled a card to see kind of what the general energy was. And I got the devil. The severity of God, seduction and downfall. Communicates with the dead, teaches the occult and magic. Okay, so there is... Okay, how do I put this for you guys? Yes, there is darkness, right? And yes, there's negativity. And yes, there's awful things in the world. And it can feel like a punishment, right? But it is more so a test. Now, when you are able to view it as a test, it helps you process what's going on a lot better. It keeps your sanity in check, right? So, let me... Hold on. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, the story of Lucifer falling from grace is he questioned God, right? God was putting all this forgiveness and attention and care into humans, and Lucifer's like, hey, no, we're your angels. You know, these guys are trash creations. Why are you putting them up on this proverbial pedestal? You know, what about our loyalty? What about my loyalty? And his ego turned into hatred, right? Now, that's a way to look at it. Another way to look at it is everything has a purpose and a place, right? So what if there was no darkness? We would have nothing to overcome, first of all. So also, you have to think about it in terms of, why did God allow Lucifer to do what he does on a regular basis, testing humanity, pitting us against each other, creating cognitive dissonance and all the rest of it, right? But it's the same thing. Like, why would teachers be allowed to test us? Why would they be allowed to ask trick questions on the exams? It's the same thing. Let's see how you're doing. Let's see if you really walk the walk, not just talk the talk. So Lucifer goes around and he wiggles into the mind, right? Now, the devil in Tarot is represented by Capricorn, which is earth energy. So he uses earthly energy, but I beg to differ that the devil is more air energy, because the devil attacks the mind. Yes, he uses earth energy to do it, right? Like greed and lust and all the negative emotions that drive you to break the 10 commandments, right? Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not this, thou shalt not that, right? Covet thy neighbor's cattle, whatever the fuck. But if you think about it, why did God allow it to happen? Because God allows the tests to occur to see what's gold and what's sand. You know, you got a gold miner, a pan handler, right? A person who holds the pan. God is holding the pan, and he's in the. Hey, sorry, I can't see the bottom chat bits because I have it. So I wanted you guys to look at the flowers. Oh, let's see. So yeah, sanity check, right? Ethical check, morality check, integral check, right? So when really shitty things are happening to us or around us, and we go, why? God, have you forsaken me? Why are you allowing this to happen? God has taken a big scoop out of the river, and he's sifting through the rocks and the sand, and he's looking for bits of gold, right? The reason why he put so much care and effort into humans and not as much into angels, because the angels were already angels. We were the spiritual babies. We were the ones that needed extra care and attention. If you've got a 20-year-old in college and then you've got a 2-year-old in the house, you're going to pay a lot more attention to the 2-year-old because they need extra care and attention, right? Maybe you got a little baby, a brand new newborn, and you're like, okay, I got to change the diaper. I got to make sure they're still breathing. I got to do all these extra things, right? That my kid in college doesn't need, you know? And as the baby gets older, the baby gets tested more. So the parent might stand them up and let them walk a little bit and see how far they get before they fall, right? You might start putting food in front of them, even though they can't quite figure it out yet and they make a total mess. It's like, well, you clean it up and you give them more. And that's why Lucifer was so frustrated. You know, they just made a mess of all their food and you're going to give them more food? And it's like, well, yeah, they're spiritual babies, you know? And I believe that the devil energy, this Lucifer energy, the energy of Satan, and I know people like to differentiate between the three, but as far as I'm concerned, it's the test of darkness, right? Whether it's dark night of the soul, or whether it's darkness around you, or whether it's, you know, whatever, darkness seeping into your reality, how are you going to handle it? When I put food in front of you, are you going to throw it all over the place, or are you starting to like put it in your mouth? Can we graduate to a little fork and a spoon, or do you still need to be working with your hands? How far have we come? And God allows us to work where we are, not where he wants us to be, right? If we were working where he wanted us to be, we would all fail every day, all the time. You don't put kindergartners in calculus class, right? So when I see this card, seduction and downfall, it can be a warning, like, hey, don't be seduced into dark thinking, dark actions, because it will be your downfall. Now, the aspect of communicating with the dead and teaching the occult and magic, the occult is just things you cannot see. You can't touch, taste, feel, right? You can't see it. It's the hidden. Every religion has occult energy, things you cannot see. Every single one of them. So when they demonize that concept, it's a matter of controlling the masses. That's why I don't support any one religion. I have my little religious practices, but that's just because it was, in a manner of speaking, you know, it gets beaten into you when you're younger. At least when I was younger, it did. And I find comfort in certain rituals, like prayer, of certain prayers and things like that. But religion is a man-made control construct Whether it's a dark religion or a light religion, it doesn't matter. It's a control construct for man. You don't need it. It's a training wheel. You don't technically need it. It's nice, if it's a good organization and they're actually like actively trying to connect you with the God within yourself and the God within others, then it's a beautiful thing. Right? That's why Jesus was so popular. And I know, we have arguments or whatever, but I'm talking to Smarty Girl because I know she's in here. But the truth of the matter is, you had somebody walking around looking at everybody not for what he saw on the outside, but for what he felt of them on the inside, which was the God within me recognizes the God within you. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of care and attention. Right? Now that I can get behind, that general philosophy. All the religious stuff that's attached to it, I don't subscribe, because it's a bunch of insecure, patriarchal energy for the most part, toxic masculine, toxic feminine, that promote an imbalance in energy. You need to have balanced masculine and feminine. God didn't just create a bunch of men. God didn't just create a bunch of women. He created us both, right? If you go down the creationist viewpoint, right? Which is, regardless of whether or not you believe, it helps with understanding certain things spiritually. If you can look at these religious texts as what they are, which is mystical interpretations of 3D reality problems, it helps you stop being so rigid and black and white, you know? I know. And I don't disagree on that. So, but here's the thing. Put all that aside. We are energy frequencies. Everything is made up of energy. These flowers that you're looking at, they're made up of energy. The wall that you see, the glass, the water, everything has different levels of energy to it. If you leave a house alone for long enough, it starts to decay because the energy has left. The care, attention has left. It's the same thing with your soul. If you don't feed your soul, then it decays. That's why you got so many great people walking around right now, and they're lost. They're lost as all F, right? Because they haven't been feeding the soul. The soul is a frequency, it's a vibration. It's a spiritual engine, right? And different things have different ways of processing and distributing their energy. But let's talk about the human, right? Because that's what we're working with right now. When you have a negative test and you've got something coming in that's really dark, and it's sent in intentionally to seduce you so that you fall to your knees and you turn empty and dark, instead of viewing it as an enemy tactic, which, yeah, it is. If you can view it as a test, you will have a lot better time of things. This is a way of restructuring your mind so that it doesn't fracture you psychologically. Okay? Same thing with, what was I just going to say? Sorry, I just woke up. I've been having crazy dreams, so my sleep is like so crazy right now. Where was I? Seduction and downfall. So when the devil presents itself in, let's say you get attacked, let's say you get financially attacked or spiritually attacked or physically attacked. All right? If you can view it as you are in a duel, maybe a sword. What is that? A sword duel? That's not a duel. Well, you know what I'm talking about. You're practicing swordsmanship, and you pull out your sword. It's not about being perfect. It's about standing up and pulling your sword out and being willing to protect yourself, protect your soul. It's a test of the emergency broadcast system. Are you just going to stand there and let this energy come in and just stab your soul and reduce you to nothing? Or are you going to at least fight for yourself? Even if it ends horribly, are you going to try? This separates the sand from the gold, right? I'm sorry, I'm moving it so I can read what you guys are saying. So your tire flew off and you almost died. All these little things, you know? Let's say the tire flew off your car, you nearly died, and then you decided never to get back in your car again. It's the same thing with anything. Let's say somebody steals a bunch of money from you, and then you never engage with anyone socially ever again. And you allow it to break you. The test is, can you get back in the car? Can you make an effort to fix your vehicle and get back in your car? Can you make an effort to fix your finances and still be able to connect with others, but maybe with the added lesson of, okay, I need to make sure that my car is okay before I get out on the road, right? The other one is, okay, let me make sure that my finances are safe before I go socializing with others, right? Like talking online and somebody's, convinces you to, hey, I got all this money. If you send me a deposit and you give me your bank details, I can give you this and that. And the next thing you know, your account is cleared. And it's like, wait a minute, I shouldn't have to give anybody money to be my friend or to be in a relationship with me. And it's a lesson that you learn. Oh shit, that was an expensive lesson. I don't want to do that again. You want to talk about entity attachments. Well, that's around the same thing. I've noticed, and I was talking to somebody else about this the other day, and we were discussing the prayer of Archangel Michael as a way of combating this, but it was all about entities jumping bodies around this person and testing them in the same way. So you've got the devil jumping from one person in their life to another, testing them in different areas of their life. If somebody is not working on raising their vibration, their soul is deteriorating and it's susceptible to infestation, spiritual infestation. Right? You think ringworms are bad. Wait till you get an attachment on you, spiritual attachment. That's why we still have exorcists in the world. There's not very many of them because, it's controlled by a patriarchal, toxic masculinity. They say that they recognize the feminine, but they do a little bit better than others, but still, it's all toxic, uneven energy. But this is why you have people who do clearings, they do space clearings, they clear houses of presences and things like that. Because when your energy is low enough, that means your energy is turns into a vessel. When your energy is high, it's raising at such a fast speed, it's not it's not inhabitable. That's like saying somebody with a low pH balance, it's easier for you to get sick and get cancer and get all sorts of things. When you have a high pH level, it's a lot harder for your body to get taken over by disease and illness. It's a lot harder. It's the same thing spiritually. You got to keep your spiritual pH up. But even if you have the highest pH, spiritually speaking, that you can think of, other people around you may not. And as lovely as they are when you first meet them, sometimes you can find that their energy switches up on you. And you're like, holy shit, what happened to the person that I met that I got along so well with? Well, here's the thing. When you entered their life, right, they were already spiritually weak. But when you entered their life, you just made them and their soul more attractive to inhabit. So somebody that may not have been possessed before, you come into their space, they might end up getting possessed even faster and stronger. Because now they're being used as a tool against you, because the spiritual entity can't enter you directly. So it has to enter energies around you. So when you've got people going around being jealous and hateful and pulling people down around them, is so counterproductive, because you're leaving yourself open to those energies around you getting taken over. You want everyone around you to be vibrating higher and doing better for themselves. Our society, our global society, is set up ass backwards, as if it's set up so that entity attachments can be more prevalent. Just because you can't see an alien come to Earth doesn't mean that the foreign energies aren't here. You don't know how the entities travel through time and space. It may not be in a physical 3D body. You can't see it. So you got people going around saying, yeah, that's a reptilian and that's a this and that, but that person is that. And you're like, I don't get it. I mean, they look like a human to me. Yeah, but they were spiritually dense and easy to take over. And then when these entities take over these physical human bodies on this planet, because maybe their bodies, they can't handle our atmosphere, so they take over the bodies of the people here, and they start mining our resources and stealing our energy sources and all the rest. And the more dense more people are, the more entities that can take over. This is why it is a spiritual war of good and evil. This is exactly what this means. Mysticism is permeating through religious text. People need to stop taking everything so literal. Really. I mean, there are some things you should take literal, like the golden rule, right? But it's a spiritual battle of good and evil. A spiritual war within self, and then a spiritual war externally as well. Now, how do you make things better? You have to keep your energy clean, right? Yeah, but I keep my energy clean and I keep getting attacked from these people that are around me who aren't keeping their energy clean. And you won't even know it until something insidious happens, right? And this is how you start out, and you're like, my own family did this to me, and my own friends did this to me, and my coworkers, these are people that I cared about and did lovely things for. And it's like, well, I'm not taking the responsibility off their back, but I am saying that maybe it's not spiritually them. Maybe they're not at the they're not in the driver's seat, so to speak, right? Sorry, coffee. So, oh yeah, with regards to communicates with the dead, teaches the occult and magic. A test is not there to fail you. This is why this is why God allows this energy into our space, because it's not set up for us to fail. If we fail, okay, we need to get back up and we need to do it again. But it's set up to teach us things about ourselves. Communicates with the dead. This could be something simple as communicating with your ancestors, praying, connecting with those that have come before. This is a tool. This is a positive tool you can use by facing and understanding the devil energy. Same thing with teaches the occult and magic. This is teaching what is unseen and teaching magic. The magic is within you, right? This is teaching you your strengths, the strengths you cannot see. Occult, I cannot see it. Okay, magic, your strengths, your power. Things I cannot see that strengthen me. That's why, when I look at the tarot cards, you can view certain cards as bad and certain cards as good. And sometimes you'll even hear me and I'm like, oh, fuck, 10 of Swords, come on, man. And I'll complain. But the truth of the matter is, there is light on every bit of dark energy. Even the worst of the worst, like the devil here, right? This is the card that turns so many people away from using the mystic energy of oracle card, of tarot cards specifically, right? And it demonizes the whole practice. But that's because people are short-sighted and they can't understand that through the darkness is where you find the light. If you're surrounded by light all the time, you can't tell the difference. But when you're surrounded by darkness, and you learn how to turn your light on within you, and you become the light in the darkness, and you radiate that energy out around you, now you got the light. Now you've got the light. And you can feel the difference. Man, was I that dark before? Because this light is really shining bright on some things that I didn't even know were there before. Holy bajolies. I had no idea I was so disconnected from energy. I had no idea how disconnected I was from the God within myself. I had no idea how disconnected I was from the magic within myself and the magic surrounding me. A flower blooming is magic. A child laughing is magic. A thought. Your ability to have a thought, that's fucking magical, bitch. If you can manifest it in your mind and you've got clean, high vibrational energy, and if it is for your greatest good, you can manifest things into reality like nobody's business. I mean, dark energies can manifest too, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about doing the work and manifesting from your higher self. Connecting to your ancestors is connecting to energy source. When your physical meat suit perishes on this planet, your soul does not. Energy can't be created. It can't be destroyed. It can be transferred. It can be transmuted. It can be, taken apart, put together, but you can't destroy it. You understand the concept of an atomic bomb is them splitting atoms, and guess what fucking happens? That's what happens when you try to destroy energy. Energy turns around and says, fuck you, and destroys you. And says, fuck off. There is no destruction of it. It has to go somewhere. So when I get this devil card as the very first card, the severity of God. God, why? Why did you do this to me? Why are you picking me up in your... Why couldn't you just leave me in the river? Why did you pick me up in this pan of yours? Why are you shaking me around with all these rocks? 24 karat gold is soft. It can be scratched easily. It can be dented. It can be molded. But through the process of shaking you out and finding the golden pieces within, you can make some beautiful stuff with 24 karat gold. Right? You can make some amazing things. Why have you forsaken me? Look how dented I am. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm going to melt you down and turn you into a beautiful necklace anyway. It doesn't fucking matter. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Communicates with the dead, teaches the occult and magic. These are the positive aspects of the devil card. Yes, there is positivity on the devil card. There's positivity. There's a light aspect to every darkness, just like there's a dark aspect to every light. Don't let the seduction lead to your downfall. And even if it does, get back up again. Get back up again. I'm dented. That fucking sucked. Now I need to, decompress and remove all this toxic trauma drama off me. But I'm still standing. I'm still standing. I'm still here. I get up, I dust myself off, and I keep going. And in those moments of darkness, and you communicate with your ancestors, you communicate to the God within you and within others. You learn to see what is unseen in the situation. And this is how you are forged. This is the melting of the gold to turn you into something beautiful. Right? Absolutely stunning. So when you are, let's say you meet somebody and they're absolutely lovely, and the next time you meet them, you feel something's off. They might have had an energy attached to them because they were connected to you. Now, I'm not saying it's your fault, and I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm not saying anything. I'm just simply saying, be aware that it happens a lot to people who are in a high vibrational energy because the entity cannot jump into you. So it has to jump into things around you. It no longer can test you from within, trying to steal your ride, man, your body, your ride. Steal your soul. It can't. Your soul is firmly planted within you at this point. It's firmly connected to the God source, the energy source of all. So it's got to challenge you and test you with surrounding energies. There was a man here the other day, and he was just doing some work. And the first time I was introduced when I met him, his energy was really heavy and really weighed down. And it felt dark. It felt angry. It felt frustrated. It felt all sorts of things. And while he was here for several hours doing whatever it was he was doing, you can call it prayer or whatever you want to call it. But I chelated his energy. So chelation is the cleansing of the blood, right? It's filtrating the blood. I was chelating his energy. I was pouring good energy into him and pulling the negativity out. And I was asking God within me to connect to the God within him. And I said, hey, if he's done darkness and he has karma, help it come to the forefront so that he can work through this lesson, so that he can have a more positive experience in this reality. Right? It's not my job to take away people's karma. It's not your job either. People have to go through their lessons. That's the devil energy. You have to go through the fire. You have to walk over the coals in order to feel the sense of accomplishment and understand the lesson. But what you can do is help clear out all the extra baggage that's blocking them and open it up so that they can go through their little bits of karma that's left without all the extra darkness surrounding them. This will make sense to very few of you, but the ones that are getting it, they'll get it. By the time he was done, he was smiling. His energy was light. You could tell he was feeling a lot better. He wasn't at the top of his life game, he wasn't like Pollyanna positive. He was just feeling at ease. So when you've got people around you and you're like, man, it feels like this person is possessed. Chances are they probably are. And the best thing that you can do is to help, if you practice raining down stardust on them is one way to look at it. And seeing the dirt that's been attached to them run off back into Mother Nature so that she can recycle it into the roots of our existence. God made dirt, and dirt don't hurt. But if you die, God knows why. And I always added a little bit because you ate too much fucking dirt. But if you clean the dirt off, there's nothing bad about it. It's just an added lesson. So if you feel right now in your life that you can't catch a break, you feel like maybe people around you aren't listening, they're not helping, they're not healed, they aren't. They're not. So not only can you set an example to these people by continuing to shine your light, but you can help cleanse them of whatever it is that's got them stuck. Sometimes people come at you with the attachment of jealousy. Sometimes people come at you with the attachment of poverty, lack mindset. Why do you have and I don't have? And, all this, which, a lot of people, myself included, I've been to all these places. I've been to all these dark spaces. And I've worked through it and I've come out of it. So I know it's possible for not just myself, but for others. If I can do it, so can you. And if you're not being challenged spiritually speaking, then you've got work to do on yourself. If you're not getting spiritually attacked and you don't have energies and entities attaching to those around you, You got to work on yourself more. Because you're not worth the challenge. You're not there yet. So then you get to go back to, working on yourself. And then when you get to a certain point and you're like, I feel like I'm getting attacked from all corners. Okay. Now you're ready to be aware enough to fight the battle externally, right? And how do we do that? We do that by sharing love and light and understanding. Sometimes understanding someone is crying with them or getting angry with them and then helping them work their way out of it. There's an acting technique for improvisation, and it's called yes and, which means you don't tell them, like if they say the sky is purple, you don't say to them, no, the sky's not purple, it's green. You have to agree with them. You have to say yes, and then you have to add upon it. Yes, the sky is purple, and the clouds are made of cotton candy. And then they have to add on and say cotton candy, and the sun is made of gumdrops or whatever, right? And you have to add upon it. You can't tell somebody no. The reason this is helpful in this regard is because telling somebody that their reality isn't real will fracture them spiritually and psychologically. That's not what you want to do. What you want to do is yes and them. So if they say the sky is purple and dark and I'm just being attacked by demons, yes, you are. Yes, you are. And how are we going to get out of it? Yes, and you affirm their reality and you help talk them through it and around it and out of it if they need it. I have no money. Yes, you don't. Let's see if we can figure out how to change that for you. What do you got going on in your life? Where's your money going? Where's it coming from? You help people with the 3D problem, helps them with the spiritual issue, which is the low frequency. Sometimes what it means is let's say you got a waiter and they do an excellent job, but you can see they're really struggling and you give them a much bigger tip than would be expected. Maybe you have it on you, right? Maybe you've already worked through your poverty mindset and now you're in abundance. So instead of just giving them the bare bones minimum, you give them loads extra and you just trip their switch. You flip their switch. And it helps give them a pattern interrupt out of that poverty mindset, and you give them a moment of relief so they can feel abundance. You want people to feel that energy so they know what they're looking for. They know what it feels like when they find it. Maybe they're really jealous. Maybe they're always saying little comments to you and they're being infected with the entity of jealousy. And they say little things to you like, well, it's easy for you because you got so-and-so and you've got this going and you've got everything. Maybe you flip the switch on them and say, man, you're jealous of me. I'm jealous of you. Look at all these things you've got going on in your world. You don't have to answer to anybody. You've got this going on and that going on. Man, I wish I had your life. Flip it around on them. Let them feel what it's like to be in abundance energy where they are. So they know what it feels like when they get there. There are different ways to help expel entities from those around you that doesn't involve a cross and a Latin prayer. The power of Christ compels you. You don't run around saying that. It would be fucking weird, right? Although I have said it maybe once or twice because the person was just so fucking dark and nasty. And I literally said it straight to their face, and I like did the sign of the cross toward them, like, get back, you. But that's very rare. It's only happened maybe once or twice. But, for the most part, you do it in a different way. You help raise their vibration little by little so they can expel the entity themselves. Become inhospitable. Become an inhospitable host so that the entity just doesn't want to be there anymore. Right? Bless those around you. Well, I had to go through it the hard way, so why should they get a handout? Well, because you had to go through it the hard way, why don't you remove the boulder from the path so that other people don't have to get stuck there who aren't as strong as you? Why don't you move the fucking boulder? Because you have the muscle, the spiritual muscle to do so that others can go up the path with you. There is strength in numbers. We've got the illusion that exclusivity equals value. But that's not the case. Quality equals value. And you can have loads of quality. It doesn't have to be exclusive. And the more quality you have, the better everything gets around you. Well, I don't want other people to have as much as I have. They have to go through it the hard way, just like I did. Well, then you're basically making it harder on yourself too. Because the higher vibration those around you are, the better life that those around you have, the easier it will be for you as well. Because then you're not surrounded by a bunch of people just trying to survive. Energetically speaking, you're surrounded by people who are thriving, and then you can have some real fun. And you can get some really cool stuff done. And you can really make a difference in your own world. Right? And the world of those around you. When I was in elementary school, I'm going to toot my own horn, but it's really a lesson. It's not even about ego. Because at the time, I got people given out to me, like angry with me for how I handled it. But I'll tell you. So I think I was in, what grade was I in? 4th grade, 5th grade, something like that. And we were learning about slavery, and we were learning about what that meant. And our teacher, I think it was Miss Wise. Oh, I can't remember who it was. She was an excellent teacher, though. Maybe it wasn't Miss Wise. What was her name? She had blonde curly hair. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We were in the auditorium, and she had put paper tape and separated the auditorium into like 6 or 7 sections. And she took bags of cotton buds, cotton balls, and she dumped them all over all the sections. So every section had the same amount of cotton. And she made maybe like, for each section there was a leader, and I got picked to be a leader of one of them. And we weren't allowed to help. So we couldn't get down and pick up the cotton too. We had to just stand there and order everybody else around. And in the end, by when the timer went off, we got paid in M&Ms by how much cotton we had picked in the time that we had to do it. And all the leaders were given all the M&Ms. And all the people who ended up having to be the slaves in the experiment got nothing. And every single person almost all the other people, they might have given maybe 1 or 2 M&Ms to each person and one guy didn't give any M&Ms to any of his people. And me, I took my M&Ms and I split them exactly evenly between all of them. I think there was 1 extra M&M and I said, "I'm having that." I think it was like 1 extra M&M and I took it. But it was evenly distributed amongst all the people that I had in my section. And the other leaders got really angry at me for doing it. Talk about peer pressure. And I said, "They did all the work. Why would I not do that? Why would I not take care of the people that take care of me?" You know, all those people in my section, some of them I were never my friends. Some of them gossiped about me, blah, blah, blah. After that experiment, all the people, even the ones who weren't in my section, everybody viewed me differently. Everybody treated me differently. And it raised the vibration of the entire class. The entire fucking class. My teacher said, "Not once in all my years of teaching and doing this experiment has anybody done that. Shared equally amongst everyone." There's a reason why they demonize the idea of socialism and socialized living. There's a reason why there's so much peer pressure surrounding the idea of sharing. It's like nuts. No, we can't give them because, then they'll think that everything is owed to them and blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, but the 98% of us at the bottom do most of the work and get the least back. That is not how you set up a structure of society to survive and thrive. Which is why I believe so many entity attachments, especially those at the top, there's a reason why they have them doing all this really dark energy, fucked up shit. Because they need their energy low enough to be able to hitch a ride. They need their energy low enough to be able to take over and attach. These entities need your frequency pH to be low enough to take over. And if you take care of other people and you raise your vibration and you raise the vibration of those around you, they can't do that. And they can't steal the resources of humanity and the planet and destroy the planet and suck it dry and move on to the next one. We become a pain in the ass in a good way. And this is the battle of good and evil we are fighting. We need to kick these people out of the nation because there's not enough jobs and resources for all of us. We need to go take over another nation because there aren't enough jobs and resources for us in our nation of our own. Right? Which is like a locust energy. When in actuality, there is plenty for everyone. There are enough resources for everybody. We just have a few people hoarding it. And those few people are so dense in their energy that they have been taken over. They've had entity attachments to them for decades. They don't even realize that it's not their soul in charge. It's been going on for so long. There's a reason why the PDF files are going in the way that they're going. Why judges and lawyers and fathers and mothers and children, they're all, not handling the situation according to how it should have been handled, which is all these people need to go in fucking prison. They need to be stripped of all their resources and they need to be punished. But the reason that's not happening is because so many people at all societal levels have been infiltrated and taken over, spiritually speaking. Your next door neighbor could have an attachment of it, greed. They could have an attachment of fear, where they're too scared to say anything. So they let the darkness seep in and take over. They're so scared they fight any goodness that comes in because it's different and it's scary. No, the law says this. Well, the law is detrimental to humanity. We need to change the law. No, 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 the law says this. Well, when was the law created and what was the energy surrounding why we created the law? What was the purpose of it? Who benefits from this? There are plenty of resources for everyone. And yet we have put this lack mentality on tap for everyone. When you've got people who have been blackmailed for, let's say there's somebody and they're talking to a child and someone snaps a picture and says, I'm going to tell everybody that you're a child molester. And maybe this person literally was just talking to a kid and signing an autograph. Now, obviously, that's not the case with these files, but I'm just saying, let's say that's the case. That brings your frequency down and allows energetic attachments of the darkness. I had this conversation, I think with Smarty Girl, a long time ago, and we were talking about contracts and how a lot of these people have signed these dark contracts. And I said, yeah, they might have signed that contract when they were in a lower vibration. But when they work on raising their frequency to a higher vibration, that contract is null and void because you're not that energy anymore. I don't think any contract should ever be for life. Marriage contract, nothing. I think you should have 7 years because that's how long it takes for every soul and every cell in your body to regenerate and have a completely new body of cells. Every 7 years, you're a completely different person physically. I don't think any contract should be forever. But that's just a personal opinion. There's people out there who love control and they would highly disagree with that idea because then they lose control over who they've got attached to their dark contracts. So the double energy, yeah, you're surrounded every day by people who have entity attachments. Whether it's online or in person, you're surrounded. All this AI stuff that they've rolled out is because we started to awaken and they had to put us back to sleep so they could continue to rape and pillage humanity, our planet. We're supposed to be the keepers and the caregivers of our planet. And we've allowed ourselves to be infiltrated, taken over. We've allowed this destruction. Fear, greed, ego, apathy, all these different things we've allowed for this to happen. No, I didn't participate. Well, yeah, you did. We all did. I'm not saying I didn't either. We all participated in this, allowing this to happen. Well, how do we change it? Well, I gave you some ideas. Not only do you raise your own frequency so you can't be taken over, but you work on cleansing and raising the energy of those around you by lifting them up. You lift them up to the Lord, our God. God is not a man in a fucking throne up in the sky. Smarty Girl jokes about calling him Sky Daddy, but that's how society has created as this external being. God is the energy that surrounds us, that's within us, that we're made of, that everything is made of. God is in these pens. God is in those flowers. God is everywhere in everything. How do you use your tools Do you use it for good or do you use it for darkness and evil? You have a choice every day when you wake up in the morning. How are you going to use your tools? When you disrespect another human being, when you disrespect Mother Nature, when you disrespect animals and plants and everything else around you, you're disrespecting God's creations. Oh, but God gave us all of this so that we could use it. Yeah, not abuse it. When you abuse your spouse, when you abuse your children, you're lowering your frequency and your vibration. Your spiritual pH is now too acidic. And you are free to be taken over by whatever foreign alien entity wants to come and rape and pillage our planet. Aliens are not little green men. I mean, maybe some of them are, but they're other human beings. The thing keeps trying to force an update. I hate that shit. I asked the guy at the phone shop the other day, is there no smartphone that has like no AI? I don't want AI on my phone. And he goes, no, there's nothing. They forced it onto everything. I'm so pissed off. I'm getting to a point where I want to use a flip phone. But at the same time, I need, maps. I need maps to be able to get places and go and find places. And that's my biggest hang up right now, getting rid of my smartphone. All the other stuff, the apps and all this stuff, I fucking hate all of it. I hate it. I will figure out how to get rid of it. Don't you worry. It's just my take. Wow. So, Ace of Cups over here. We got 3 of Pentacles and 8 of Cups. And then we've got 2 of Swords. And then we've got King of Cups and Queen of Cups. That's an energetic match right there. Seduction and downfall. Sometimes seduction is presented in a package that we think that we desire. Oh, it's wrapped perfectly. That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, is it really? What do you have to do? What do you have to walk away from in order to accept that package, that Ace of Cups, that new emotional beginning that you want? What do you have to exchange for it? And then being indecisive about, man, I feel like they're my match. What do you have to sacrifice to get this supposed desired lifestyle or outcome or relationship that you so desire? If you have to lower your frequency and lower your vibration to be with somebody or to have a job or to have a certain friendship group or to live in a certain area, that's your litmus test. That's your sign. Your spiritual pH is about to be drastically reduced and you are going to be susceptible to attachments. Yes, everything has a balance. Well, everything has a balance. I mean, if I'm going to have a new relationship, I have to let go of the old one. If I'm going to have a new lifestyle, I have to let go of the old one. Yeah, but are you having to compromise your integrity, your morals, your ethics to be able to do this? Or are you just experiencing a death of one energy and a raise of a frequency toward another? Is it simply a transition? Even if it's painful, even if it's a painful transition. Is it simply a transition? Or are you having to sacrifice a piece of yourself or a piece of something around you or a piece of someone else in order to accept this desired thing that you are looking for? Oh, we'll give you the dream job, but oh, you can have this dream relationship, but Oh, you can live in this dream neighborhood, but what's the but that's attached to it? Is it a clean butt or is it a shitty butt? Do they wipe their ass or do they just let it fester? This is a really gross visual, but I think that's accurate. Especially spiritually speaking, I think that's quite accurate. Is it a shitty deal? Or is it a clean deal? Hey, sign this contract. You have to sacrifice your ability to talk about this thing. You want me to sign a DNA? Okay, what if there are abuses taking place? Am I not allowed to speak on that? What if you're doing illegal shit? Does this contract, do you expect me to keep my mouth shut on that? If so, that's probably not a contract that I want to sign because you're going to demand that I lower my frequency. And now I'm what? Complicit to the fuck shit because I signed a DNA? What is it? A DNR? Do not resuscitate. Do not resuscitate. Do not, what's it? I don't remember. You know, one of those contracts is say don't fucking talk about shit. What is it called? NDA. Oh, I'm dyslexic. But it kind of feels like that when you sign some of these contracts. It's like they're trying to own the essence of you, huh? Own your DNA. It's like 23andMe. Give us your identity and your soul. Yeah. So we'll give you the AI technology, but we're going to use it to destroy you. Yeah, we'll give you the rewards, but we're going to use them to steal from you. It's like giving someone a small piece of chocolate, take their entire life savings. But I gave you chocolate. Yeah, you stole my life savings, though. Right? When you sign a contract of any kind, whether it's relationship, work, whatever, whatever it is, you have to make sure it's balanced. You have to make sure that what they're expecting of you and what you are expecting from them is even. If it's out of exchange, if it's uneven, you got a problem. Let's say they're going to give you all this stuff, but they're just asking for this little itty bitty thing. Nope. Something's wrong with that contract. Let's say they're asking for you to do all this work, but they don't want to give you very much in return. But they expect you to just be happy about it. No, that's not a good contract. I want you to marry me, do all the chores, raise the children, do everything around the house. I want you to be okay with me cheating on you and bringing home STIs. I want you to handle yourself when I am abusive or neglectful to you. And in exchange, you can have a place to live and I'll make sure that there's food in your belly. And maybe I'll take you on a vacation once in a while. Nope, that's out of exchange. That's way out of exchange. Yeah, but I'm going to work and making the money. Yeah, that's it? That's all you're doing? Nope, this contract is out of exchange. This is not a healthy exchange. I want you to come work for me. You got to work. I'll give you salary, but we might expect you to answer phone calls and emails 24 fucking hours a day. But we're only going to pay you the salary. You don't get any overtime, and you don't get paid for answering calls and emails and being on call 24/7. Nope, that's out of exchange. We want you to take minimum wage and for part-time hours, and we want to screw you around with your schedule and call you in last second, and then if you don't come in, we get to shame you. But, you get employee discounts on food. Nope, out of exchange. We have to start recognizing when soul contracts and contracts of the 3D are not in our highest good. Hey, I'm going to give you $1 million and all you have to do is, sign this over to me or whatever. Or you have to, okay, what's an example? I'm going to give you all of this and all you have to do is this one little thing. No, out of exchange. What do you really want? What does that one little thing imply? Because usually it's not just one little thing. I'm going to give you mansions and millions and pay for your tours and do all this. And all you have to do is give me the rights to all of the music you create. And you have to create a certain amount of music every fucking second of the day. And if you're not top of the chart, I can drop you like a hot potato and you owe me back all that money. Oh, there's the fine print. Everything you're supposedly giving to me, you're just taking from me and giving it to me like it's some sort of a gift. So you're giving to me what I'm already making. Actually, you're giving a lot less to me. So you rake in the billions and you give me a couple million. That's out of exchange. That's why they say read the fine print. Hey, you're going to sign for this movie, but you have to sign your likeness off and over to me, and if, your voice and all the rest of it, not realizing they're going to use your voice and likeness without your consent and a future date, but you signed the contract, you didn't realize. That happened to Robin Williams when they did that with Aladdin 2. He was the genie, and they turned around and they used his voice without his consent. They had it recorded and they used his voice without his consent. But they said, well, you signed it over in the contract, and he was able to argue it and say, I only signed it over for the first movie. Now, he was able to argue it. Most people are not able. They're not educated enough. They're stuck in really shitty situations, and a dream contract like that, oh my God, you're going to pay me $10,000 to do some voiceover? Not realizing they're going to make millions off of you. They're going to have little figurines made of your character, and your voice is going to be used for their little voice boxes, and you're not going to get a dime of any of it. That's out of exchange. We need to start raising the vibration by keeping the energy fair and balanced. That's how you raise the frequency in a healthy way. That's how you raise the frequency of society in a healthy, balanced way. You don't promise the moon and say, oh, I don't need anything in return. That's not healthy. You also don't say, give me the moon, and then promise them nothing in return, barely anything. These are out of exchange, and that's why people are reducing their frequency and are susceptible to infestation of demonic energies. And they think, oh, I'm getting over on you. Look how successful I am. Yeah, but you just lost your soul, motherfucker. That's how you lose your soul. You don't sign it away in a contract as in like, we own your soul. You can't do that. But you can sacrifice your soul through your actions, your behaviors, your thoughts, how you treat yourself and others. That's how you sign your soul away, by doing the things that are unethical, immoral, out of integrity for you. Because my morals and integrity and my ethics are different from yours, right? You may have things that you're like, nope, this would reduce my energetic signature. I'm never doing this. And somebody else might say, well, that's not something that's a deal breaker for me. Everybody's at a different level of learning. Some people hold themselves to a higher standard because they're at a higher frequency. Some people hold themselves to a lower standard because they're not there yet. That doesn't mean they'll never get there. It just means they're not there yet. And they will have to experience the consequences of that. Because there's always consequences and there's rewards. There's both. And you learn to weigh them out. When you have a higher frequency and you operate from a higher level of integral, moral, and ethical bandwidth, it's not because it's not because you're like, oh, I'm better than everyone. It's because you know that if you don't, you're gonna suffer the consequences.